But as a supplement to that program, they have these crew travelers that are getting to and from the work sites. So they have your salespeople that are going to and from meetings. They have management that need to travel, but then they also have crew travelers, which is the piece that we're investing in.
I'm Chika Eloy, and this is a conversation designed for BCD people with BCD people. On this show, we're running through the diverse cultures of talent at BCD Travel, and we're showcasing our most confident self-colleagues. So come on, let's go have some fun as we explore the different functions, spaces, faces, and the complexities across our world of BCD.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are back at it again for another week of A World of BCD, and coming to us all the way from hopefully sunny London, the Old Broad Street office there in London, we have Alexandria Prejean-Smith. Welcome to today's podcast.
Thank you so much.
Ali,
I'm excited to be here.
We have been talking about doing this for over a month now. I'm just stoked that we finally got it on the calendar. So why don't I just give you the conch, the microphone, the sprucaphone, and let you tell us, who are you, what do you do, and what's the great work that you're doing under the banner of ERM at the moment at BCD?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, like you said, my name is Alexandria Prejean-Smith. I work within our ERM, or Energy Resources and Marine vertical, and I'm helping the team from a marketing and sales support perspective. I've worked in business travel for about 5 years now, being based in both the US and the UK, currently living in London, like you said. I moved over here about 2 years ago.
Very cool. Yeah, I was going to say, you don't sound very, I was going to say baked beans on toast, English breakfast right now. You sound, where in the US were you based?
Texas. So I don't have a strong Texas accent either. I'm just kind of have this weird neutral.
It's blend. Hey,
American.
As an Australian American, I understand your pain. Do you did you move to the UK through BCD or for BCD, or did you just move and find BCD there?
I moved actually at my previous job, and it was in the travel industry. So I switched to BCD while I was already living in the UK.
Okay, cool.
Moved for work, though. Moved originally for work within travel.
And I am so glad that you're part of our team out there. For one, because you have schooled me incredibly over this last month into this new idea of ERM. So let's begin. What is this cool thing that we're hearing about?
Yeah, it's exciting, at least for me. The people listening will probably know that BCD is expanding our footholds in certain verticals. So, entertainment, we have government in the US, we're doing sports, and now there's ERM, which again stands for Energy, Resources, and Marine. And we, as in travel management companies, group these sectors together because of the way that they have crew traveling to and from work sites to do their job, and they all travel quite similarly.
Cool. So are you talking like miners that are offshore, those type? Is that what Energy, Resource, and Marine is?
Yeah. So we have the energy sector, the E, that includes oil and gas, renewable energy. There's a lot of subsequent parts. It can get broken down into like the exploration, which is upstream, and downstream, which is the refinement of products. There's a whole kind of subsectors involved in just the oil and gas piece. There's renewables as well, which include solar and wind farms. They're becoming more and more important in the energy mix. Then we have the R, which is the resources piece. And when you think about that, you can think of anything like with mining. Mines can be anything from coal to metals to gems and jewels, and they're located in kind of the most remote parts of the world, Africa, Mongolia, Latin America. And then the final piece is the M, which stands for marine, and this includes anything that touches a ship or a vessel or a port.
My goodness.
There's shipbuilding, manufacturing, there's parts, operations. People's minds kind of go to cargo ships and oil tankers, but it includes cruise ships, yachts. Anything that touches a port makes up this sector. And I probably went into too much detail, but I just kind of wanted to emphasize how much business actually falls within this sector. Yeah.
And so we're managing the travel for the employees for all of these companies.
Correct.
So is that just air? Is that hotels? Is that the whole package?
It's the whole package. And that travel, It varies, from corporate travel. These people are getting to and from oil rigs in the middle of the ocean. They're getting to and from mine sites, these remote destinations, and going on board ships. It's last minute, it's complicated travel, and we're managing that whole piece.
Awesome. So who's leading?
Yeah.
Who is leading this charge from the BCD perspective? Who's the leadership around it?
Yeah, so we have Stuart Harvey is the global executive sponsor of ERM. We also have a global steering committee whose members include Amy Dalton, Alex Escartine, Matthew Stewart, and Thad Slayton, as well as Ross Pratt, who is our vice president for energy and resources, as well as Thorsten Winther, who's our vice president for marine and shipping. So Ross and Thorsten kind of run the day-to-day on the ground, and the global steering committee and Stuart are there from a support and guidance perspective from global leadership.
Sensational. So I guess the other question that comes up as we now understand the what is why. I mean, outside of the revenue that this obviously is going to bring in, why are you feeling that we're investing in this as a company?
Yeah, so I think I'm going to start with the revenue because that's kind of what it boils down to, right? It's a $5 billion business globally, just the crew travel piece of this. Additionally, there's incremental transient travel opportunity that's worth 2 to 3 times that amount. So being able to service the crew travel piece, which is what our expanded energy resources and marine platform is going to do, really gets our foot in the door to be able to service some of these larger corporate clients that operate in the ERM space. And I should mention that BCD has been servicing these clients for over 30 years. We have really great regional and local teams that work with some of the big name clients, and our investment over the past year is really focused on expanding these regional initiatives into a global solution. But in addition to that revenue potential, there's also been a very unique opening in the competitive marketplace. So CWT, ERM, and ATPI. You said no acronyms, but there's so many acronyms in business travel.
IDK, what you're talking about.
Well, they're the most, CWT and ATPI are the most visible competitors in the space. And CWT has been the global market leader. They formally announced their energy practice back in 2010. And they have a lot of big name clients and a really large global footprint. But due to the downturn in the industry, they haven't really invested in a new technology that's specific to crew-related travel for many years. And for the past few years, they've been losing clients to specialist TMCs, which is where ATPI comes into play. So ATPI is a leader in marine and offshore travel, and they do a really good job about servicing the crew travel piece, but there's kind of a lack of integration with the traditional corporate travel.
Right.
And their resources have been absolutely dominated by some of the large clients that they've been winning from the likes of CWT and others. So both CWT and ATPI were really hurt by the downturn. It limited their flexibility and it limited the technology that they could offer their clients. And for us, it means that there's a really clear need for a TMC that can offer, a global solution and is ready to invest in the market.
Awesome.
So we have a really unique opportunity in terms of timelines, while clients are looking for something new to make a name for ourselves. So we're here to offer a new solution, an innovative alternative to the approaches that they've kind of been stuck with for the past few years. And our value prop, where we're trying to simplify their workload and create more savings for them that allow them to flow with the volatile market conditions in these sectors.
Solid. So you said investing, what are we putting behind this? And I don't know whether there's a caveat as to, is that different from the corporate travel side, but are we investing resources that are different than what we would do in a normal corporate account?
Yeah, so I think that's a really great point. What I will say is that any resources that we're investing from a corporate travel perspective absolutely matter to these clients. Many ERM clients, they have a traditional corporate travel program, But as a supplement to that program, they have these crew travelers that are getting to and from the work sites. So they have your salespeople that are going to and from meetings. They have management that need to travel, but then they also have crew travelers, which is the piece that we're investing in. And by investing in a solution that can get those travelers where they need to be, it gets our foot in the door for the corporate spend that we do really well. So in addition to what we're investing in from a corporate perspective, we are building a global platform, a single global platform. It's an always-on approach, and it's going to have specialized, dedicated agents that understand kind of the nuances of the ERM industries and the things that they need to do to get these crew to their sites on time, safely. If you think of somebody that's traveling to work and they're going to a work site, if they don't get there, if an oil rig can't run for a day,
right,
that company loses a ton of money. There's a whole nother level of kind of importance in getting these people to where they need to be.
I just had this visual of, remember the movie Armageddon with Bruce Willis? How he was on that crew rig. But that's truly what you're talking about,
yes.
Right? So you've got these, I remember in
Absolutely.
Australia, like you would fly into Perth, and then from Perth you would take a bus or you take a little puddle jumper up to the off-site hotel, which was 200 kilometers from the shore. 200 kilometers offshore was the rig, and then you'd have to somehow get on the rig. But there was only certain transport that was only running at only certain times, and if you missed the bus, you missed your bus. You're not getting on site, and that's what you're talking about, right?
Yeah, these trips are definitely more than a flight and a Uber to the airport. It is there's a common phrase kind of in the industry called door to deck, because it's multiple flights. There could be charter flights, charter planes, helicopters, ferries, all of which the traveler needs to take to actually get to their final destination.
And from what I remember, a crew would be, let's pretend we said 200, or even if it was just 20 would come off for a week and 20 would go on. And then those 20 that came off stay in the hotel offshore or go home and see their families, come back to that hotel, and then come back on deck. So it sounds very complicated.
It is. And that's, we're investing in resources that help manage that process in a smoother way. The ERM space has historically been really manual because of how complicated it is, because of how the crew changes, they change last minute all the time. You can't predict, 3 months in advance that you're going to need to be on a rig. You sometimes can't even predict 1 week in advance. So if you think of people are still managing their travel sometimes by printed out Excel spreadsheets, I mean, it's that manual in some of these instances. So we're investing in technology that will bring more options, more online booking options. It will integrate some of this non-traditional housing accommodation content that these crew people are staying in, bringing in some of the charter flights and helicopters and buses that these crew travelers have to take to simplify kind of a trip booking view for even the most complicated of trips. The technology lets us automate sort of all of the logistics of an ERM trip, from the crew rotation to the workflow management, to provide sort of an end-to-end solution for both the traditional travel requirements, but also the logistics requirements as well that kind of get pulled in.
Well, take a breath, Ali. Holy moly. That is awesome.
That was a really long run-on sentence, wasn't it?
No. Like, just the whole concept is new and it's fresh and it's exciting for the business of BCD, but as well just the person that's so used to hearing the same story as to what we do, as a core business. So that's great. So speaking of that, the regular person that's not in your team, is there a way that we can support? Is there a way that we can, help get the word out? I mean, you are the marketer, right?
I am indeed. I think a lot of our clients might have pieces of their business that could benefit from a platform like this, from an always-on, truly global platform that has kind of these specialist agents designed for last-minute complicated bookings. What we've seen in the past is that companies that have a really large corporate travel program but also have a kind of a crew travel component. Sometimes they service the corporate travel component by us and our competitors, and they'll break off that crew travel component and service it by a specialist agency. And we're offering a solution that really kind of spans both of those. So I would say, first thing is to look at our client base and look and see if there's opportunities within our client base to bring in kind of that additional piece. And then also just to get the word out, we have, maybe I'll send you the link after this, but we have a group in Salesforce, a chatter group that has kind of any and everything you need to know about ERM if people have more questions, if they want to have, more in-depth trainings, or just interested in kind of the latest and greatest, where we post frequent updates. And so absolutely share those within your teams. Share them on social media. BCD has been servicing the space for 30 years, but we don't necessarily have that brand recognition for servicing these clients like our competitors do. And from a marketing perspective, that is my number one goal for the next year, is to really increase that brand awareness that BCD services these clients, and we service them well.
Fantastic, Ali. Thank you. And I'll share that in the show notes at the end of the once we wrap it up, it'll be below this episode. So, Ali, is there anything else as we begin to turn the corner towards the finish line here? Is there anything else that you'd like to share with us on ERM?
Yeah, I think we've touched on it a little bit, but in terms of benefits to clients, the ERM market, it's really cyclical. The travel's last minute, it's complex. It's a volatile environment. There's the oil and gas industry is cyclical in nature. We know that from the downturns that we've experienced. And our clients have kind of seen firsthand the risk of losing innovation within their programs by sticking with legacy approaches and providers, and they're really ready for something new. So I just wanted to reiterate what our value prop is, and it's centered around creating a sustainable travel program that allows our clients' businesses to thrive. That's kind of the word that we've been using. And the value prop falls under three key categories. We've grouped them in a way, one is keeping operations running really efficiently, ensuring that our travelers are expats, everyday office workers, all of the people that fall into these ERM travel programs, they're safe. And then, of course, managing the bottom line. And quickly, just to kind of go into just a little bit more detail on that, our operations, we've built our platform to service all traveler types. So not just the crew travelers, but we've built it to serve, the rotating crew, the hired contractors, as well as corporate travelers in one single program. And that's done, we're offering, really quality content, and that's inclusive of some of the specialty fares and the accommodation that's needed for the crew travelers. Tailored technology workflows, so all of our tools and our processes, they can be differentiated by traveler type. So it allows us, the crew and the corporate travelers, to prioritize different things. And then continuous disruption support is another kind of key pillar underneath that, which is, like I said earlier, getting our crew travelers to their work site on time when they need to be there. And all of that plays kind of a key part in keeping our clients' businesses running smoothly.
In terms of scope around the world, thank you for sharing that, Ali. Around the world, are we talking, I heard Matthew Stewart, like from Australia to Africa? Where in the parts of the world are some of our focused clients right now?
Yeah, so we have, we're building a global platform. So in concept, in theory, it can serve any traveler. We know that kind of in practical nature, there's nuances around the world. So from the onset, we're building up this solution, we're building up this platform. From the onset, there is an office location. There's kind of key locations in Houston, Rotterdam, and Singapore, and that really kind of covers, the North America, U.S. market.
They're our BCD offices,
European,
right?
Yes, there are BCD offices. Okay. The European market and the APAC market. We are going to be looking to build in more points of sale into the system, into our always-on approach, and expanding more into Latin America. That is a huge market for ERM. The Nordics, they have some nuances that we kind of need to take into consideration for Europe. There's also plenty of additional opportunity in APAC. We have kind of the Singapore point of sale for now, but we're expecting that to expand. Australia is a huge market for ERM. So it's global in nature, but it's going to take a little bit of time, for us to continue to build on this. I will say that we have won, by selling this platform, we've won one of the largest oil field service providers, and we're servicing, I think it's something like 70% of their business through this platform. So through these 3 centers. Yeah. So it's working. We've sold it, and it's working. It's a viable option for our clients.
Fantastic, Ali, and thank you again for schooling us. I've really truly enjoyed learning from you over the last month, and really excited for all the great work your team's doing. So keep it up, and send our kudos to them.
Thank you. I will. And if anyone is, wanting to learn something new, please reach out. For me, coming on board to kind of expand this vertical was really a no-brainer, because I've pretty much had limitless learning opportunities. I've been I worked really closely with the sales support team, the marketing team. I've been exposed to product research and development and the partner network, and I've jumped into a few sales pitches along the way. So it's constant learning. And if anyone's interested, please reach out.
And I'll include all your notes in the bottom. So as we turn the corner and we see the finish line, Ali, are you ready for your 5 questions of fame and fantasticness? Whatever that means.
I hope. Fame and fantasticness. That should be a new hashtag. I hope that I'm ready for this.
All right. Question number 1, Ali. When you're playing checkers or chess, do you prefer to be the black or the white pawn?
White.
Very good. Question number 2. What is better to you, a hot dog or a sausage roll?
A hot dog. I'm American.
Oh my gosh. So funny. Question number 3. Do you prefer shopping down Regent Street, Oxford Street, or do you prefer on Amazon online?
I prefer online, but not on Amazon.
Oh.
I don't know why.
Do you have a preference then?
Yeah. I go to about 1 million different websites.
Okay.
It's kind of like a weird, yeah.
You're an online weirdo like most of us are. Question number 4. If you could fly, if you had the ability to fly right now, which place would you go to?
Ooh, well, I just got back, so I'm really, really loving home for the 3 days that I've been home. At the drop of a hat, if I could fly anywhere, I know this is kind of a boring answer, but I would probably say Texas, because that's where my family is.
Oh, what a homebody you are.
No.
And final question, Ali, the one that we wrap up every episode with, your favorite piece about BCD and working here?
I think my favorite piece, because I've been here for just under a year, it'll be a year next week, has really been the exposure to so many different people. I came from another TMC. It was a smaller TMC, and I am still constantly amazed about how many brains that we have that kind of make this operation run, how many different teams there are. Sometimes it's overwhelming, but every person I talk to, I'm pretty much blown away at their brilliance. So I think being given the opportunity to speak to different people with different levels of different specialities kind of within the business has been my favorite part.
Well, Ali, we appreciate your time today. Thank you so much for joining. And to all of our listeners out there, encourage you to reach out if you've got more questions on ERM. What an exploding part of our business. And we will hear and see from brand new speakers, brand new faces next week on A World of BCD. Thanks, Ali, for being here.
Thank you.